Hey everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Wednesday today and we're still have snow on the ground here, but we didn't get any more snow overnight or through the day, which is good. And hopefully the weather's going to warm up and it's going to start melting soon. So hopefully it's better weather where you are, not too cold. Today I'm going to make a card. Yesterday I talked about kind of stash buster cards, and so today I'm going to make a card that is a great way, another great way to use up designer series paper. And this one, for some of you who join me that are on my team, you may have seen this because my friend Joey, who's on our team, shared this on a team meeting a few weeks ago or a month or so ago, and I really love it. So this is a great way to use up designer series paper, and if you have anybody who is a quilter in your circle of friends or family, this is a great card for them because it combines kind of quilting techniques along with card making. So, and like I said, it's a great way to use up that designer series paper. So hopefully, I'm going to get some people on. I am a little early tonight because I expected to have a meeting tonight, but due to the snow, it's been canceled. But I decided since I advertised that I'd come on at 4:30, I better stick with that. So hopefully you'll find me, and if not, watch on the replay. All right, let me switch over to my desktop and we'll get started. Okay, so I'm using the Delightful Wishes suite for this with a few extra little products, or extra products thrown in. I love this suite of products. The suite is called Floral Delight. It includes this great bundle, Delightful Wishes bundle. So the stamp set and the dies. I love any kind of dies that will cut out words, and so there are two dies, one that will cut out the words and the one that will cut out the background for the words. And then you have some great stamp sets to create, not only to cut out these images but also to create some standalone flowers that are pretty. And this is the suite that we're using for the upcoming Creativity Abound stamp count. So if you haven't heard about that or haven't registered yet, you still have a little bit of time. I have 2 extra kits cut. So if you're interested in learning more about this stamp camp, if you live in Canada, you can reach out to me and find out how you actually can take part. If you live in one of the other markets, so we have demonstrators on our team from every market, so regardless of where you live in the world, I can put you in touch with a demonstrator that can help you register for this. So you purchase the suite of products and you get a make and take kit of 13 projects for free. As well, you get the PDF tutorial, the video tutorial, along with the make and take kit. And you will get invited to our exclusive Facebook group where we'll share 13 more projects along that you can learn to make using this suite. So in the end of it, you will have made 26 projects using this suite, and it's so pretty. So if you're interested in that, like I said, I have 2 kits that are extra, and so if you haven't registered and you're interested, reach out to me. Okay, so I'm gonna make this quilted card, so let's get started. Got all my pieces cut here, my dies. Okay, so I said, I love this because I love to quilt, and I also love to use up my designer series paper. So I'm using Pool Party. The colors in this suite are Daffodil Delight and Peach Pie, Pecan Pie, Old Olive, Lemon Lolly, and I think that's either Pool Party or Balmy Blue. I like Pool Party with it, so that's what I'm using today. So this is 5.5 by 8.5, and we're going to score it at 4 1/4. And if Joey's watching, I hope I will do it justice. You did an amazing job showing our team how to make this. All right, so we're going to burnish that score line, fold into the mountain or the raised line, and give it a good burnish. All right. So then I've got a piece of basic white that's 4 inches by 5 1/4, but I cut a piece of Daffodil Delight 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 because I want just a peekaboo of the yellow behind it. So that's going to go on like that. And we have a piece of Pool Party. So this is what we're going to layer our kind of quilt pieces on. And this is cut 3 by 3. So that's going to be our kind of mat for our designer series paper. So we're going to take this and we're going to take a ruler and a pencil. I'm just going to see. There we go. And I'm going to mark this very lightly across each of the corners, the points, so diagonally, very lightly with a pencil. That's just going to be our line, so we know where to glue this so it's straight. And we're going to do that, make a cross in the middle. Trying to find my corners. There we are. Okay, so I've got my cross very lightly marked. Now I cut 4 pieces. I actually cut more because I can't decide what to use. So cardstock that is 1/2 inch wide, or sorry, not cardstock, designer series paper that is 1/2 inch wide, and you need 4 pieces of this. This is where I was not sure which ones I was going to use. I think these are the ones. You can use, you know, mix and match them. I think I'm going to use 2. I love this one with the blue. That's kind of my favorite. And so I'm going to use two of the blue ones, and then an Old Olive, and then the Daffodil Delight check. Now, I have a feeling, yeah, it didn't work again. My Facebook connection isn't working. I'm going to have to reboot my computer and just see if there's something goofy going on. So we're going to weave this. So I'm going to lay down. Let's find my silicone mat here just to put this on so I don't get glue all over the place. So I'm just going to lay that kind of on there like that. And then I'm going to lay a piece of this. And so this will overlap. We'll trim this excess off. So I'm lining it up so it's just up to the edge of my pencil mark. And then I've got a piece of that really pretty designer series paper like that. And then I'm going to take this piece, and this is the piece I want to weave in. And so this is going to go under this one, and we can fix it if it kind of gets kind of skew-iff or wonky, as my mom used to say. So we're just going to kind of weave that, hold it in place. And then this last piece, I'm going to shift this up a little bit. This last piece is now going to go over and under. So if you've ever done weaving, it's just over and under. This card incorporates not only my love for quilting, but my love for weaving. Oops. Okay, so we've got those woven in, and we want these butted up against each other. And now we can take, and I'm just going to take my cap off my glue. Hold this, the one piece that I'm working on, and I'm just going to lift up one end and just put, you can either put the glue on the designer series paper or you can put it on the cardstock. You don't want a lot of it. And I'm going to turn my silicone mat around, hold that in place because the liquid glue takes a minute to kind of set. And we're going to do the same, put a little bit of glue down that line, and then we've just got that glued. And then I'm going to work on, let's see, I've got that one, so I can work on this Old Olive piece. Again, this is going to line up, and these are cut 6 inches, so 1/2 inch by 6 inches, and so you've got some extra wiggle room to play with. The whole thing doesn't have to be glued down solidly, and the reason for that is because we are going to emboss it, and so the embossing will actually hold it in place as well as the glue. So we've got those. So those 2 pieces of DSP are butted up against each other, and now we're going to work on these other 2 pieces. So again, you're going to line up with your line, and you can shift it a little bit because now they're kind of wonky. So lift up that one end, just put a little bit of glue down and line it up with that pencil line. And we can do the same with this one. So you can make all sorts of really fun cards. Joey had some amazing masculine cards using some more masculine designer series paper. Oopsie, that one's not very straight, but that's okay. Your pencil line is going to be covered up because these pieces are butted up against each other. So if it's a little bit wonky, it's okay. All right, so there I've got my piece of my 2 pieces, or my 4 pieces of designer series paper, and we're going to take that, turn it over, and just trim off these excess bits. My team had all sorts of fun making these quilted cards after Joey showed us how. And if you've ever thought you wanted to be part of an amazing stamping community, signing up with for the Join Special is an amazing way to become part of that community. And there's a great Join Special going on at the moment. All right, so I've got this. Now, this is, I can't remember, this might be called the Ohio Star from a quilting pattern. So what you need to do is you're going to cut 4 squares that are 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch. And these are going to go down in the 4 corners. Oopsie, that. And if you get your square, my square seems to be off on that one. Anyway, if they're 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch, and if your pieces get kind of shifted around, just move that square so the point is lined up with the where the 2 pieces of designer series paper meet up. And we'll trim that off again if there's some excess. That. And then the last one, it's a little bit fiddly. That's why it's a great card to use up your bits. You can use up bits of designer series paper. You can use up bits of cardstock. And so I've got a little bit excess of my cardstock on these edges, and that's, you can just take and trim like that. So there we go. If you've ever done any quilting, you might have actually made one of these squares. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, I said that we were going to hold this in place by embossing it as well. So this is called the Starstruck embossing folder. And this is one of the items that you can get for free when you put in a $75 order during Celebration. It's great, and it kind of reminds me of the stitching that you would get on a quilt when somebody, not certainly stitching that I do, because I don't do it that fancy, but if somebody has a quilt that they use what's called a long arm on, they get very fancy ornate quilting to hold all that batting in place. So this kind of reminds me of some of that fancy stitching. Oops, this is not. I thought this was a 3D embossing folder. It does not look like it is. So we just need, I believe, these 2 plates. There we go. So Stampin' Up! Just released a whole bunch of new products that you can get for free during Celebration. This was one of the ones. Oopsie, let's do that. So there we go. We've got now our quilted quilted and, well, pieced and quilted card. Okay, so now my piece that is basic white, so this is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm putting it onto that piece of Daffodil Delight that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I'm going to trim that just a little bit more. My quilting's never perfect either, so this is pretty common for me to be trimming. Okay, so this is going to go on like this, but before we do that, we are going to emboss it. This one, you could use the same embossing folder, but I pulled out my exposed brick embossing folder. I just like the look of a different pattern on it that's embossed. So I'm just going to bring this back in. And this is a 3D embossing folder, so I need my plate number 4 for this one. So we've got, I like this overall. This is one of my absolute favorite embossing folders. And I realized I've got my, actually it's not too bad. Thought I had my embossing, the brick going the wrong way, but it's actually not too bad. So I'm going to use dimensionals on this, on my square of quilted fabric. Gosh, still trimming off. There. So I'm just going to put this fairly close to the top, so say 1/2 inch or so from the top, to leave me some room for a sentiment. And then I've got a piece that's for the inside of the card, and a piece of designer series paper for the inside of the card. I've got a piece of basic white, and I'm going to use Old Olive because I thought it would show up nicely on mine, and I'm going to stamp the words. Did I not pull my stamp out? I did. Oh, I didn't. Okay, so I'm going to use the words wishing, and I'm going to stamp it. I could cut it out of designer series paper or cardstock, but I'm going to actually stamp this in Old Olive, and I'm going to just kind of put it at an angle because I also want to be able to cut out. Yeah, so I'm going to stamp this is a great stamp set because you can combine words. So this is wishing you a happy birthday. So I'm just going to take, and I got a piece of Post-it note to hold that in place. And somewhere I have my wishing. So there's 2 different dies in the stamp set. One will cut out the words out of cardstock, smaller, that you could then mount on to a bigger piece if you wanted to, or you can use this, stamp it, and then cut it out. Some ink on my fingers before I get it all over the place. Okay. Bring in, this will fit on my mini. I love having the flexibility to cut out using 2 different machines. Sometimes it's just easier to pull this little one. So we'll put that on and push. There we go, get it started. Got that piece, And the wishing. The cool thing about this one is when you're stamping, sometimes you lose the little dots for the eye. This one actually keeps those dots in place. And that's perfect for my liking. All right, so we're gonna just glue this piece on. I like to use liquid glue when I've used an embossing folder. It gets into those nooks and crannies. Get that on kind of lined up. There we go. Hold it in place. I'm going to use just mini dimensionals. I think they're small enough to fit in some of these sections. If they're too big, you can always trim them, or the edges on the mini dimensionals you can actually cut. They give you, there's a kind of a wide border on them. So if you need them narrower, that works too, but I think that will hold it. So wishing, isn't that pretty? Gosh, I love this bundle. Actually, I love the whole suite. The paper is just stunning. Makes me think of spring, given the fact that we've had snow. We're not supposed to get snow on the west coast, or at least on Vancouver Island. Maybe some of the west coast does get more snow than we do. All right, so wishing you tuck that just underneath. There we go. Isn't that a fun? Oh, it's such a pretty card and very springy. Now, I pulled out, these are the Tiny Bee trinkets, and they're so fun. You need to use either a little dot of glue. So I'm going to just put one there. You can use more than one, but I don't know, they're kind of one. I think one will just work on this card. Whoopsie. So you could use a glue dot. I'm just going to hold that in place for a minute till it's stuck down. Sometimes the liquid glue takes a minute to set. There, isn't that fun? How pretty is that card? Oh my gosh. Now I've got a piece of basic white that I cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I've got a wider piece. This is 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to just take and glue that down, and then I'll trim. Again, I was just pulling scraps from my designer series paper for this card, so it makes it really easy. And then you can just trim. There we go. I'm not doing very good in trimming tonight. I seem to be getting little bits stuck over the edge. All right, and this is for the inside of the card. Like I said, that's my favorite paper, the one with the blue or pool party background. All right, there we go. What a pretty card that is. So thank you very much to Joey on my team for showing us how to make these quilted cards. And so if you want to make some quilted cards and use up some of that designer series paper, I'm just going to put a little dot of glue there and hold that G down. There we go. All right, yeah, so if you've got lots of designer series paper, and I know you do because I do, if you've got scraps, this is a great card to make. You can make these pretty cards for your quilters. You could make some masculine cards. They're perfect for anybody. I know anybody would love them. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Now, I won't be live on Saturday. I'm taking a course, and so I won't be home on Saturday to go live. So come join me Sunday at 12 o'clock, and we'll make another project together.